Are they all off? We will now reconvene into open session at 1. There's nothing to report. Have any kids? No, we don't know anybody for the pledge of
Yes,
allegiance.
we do in the back there.
Oh, okay. Okay, would you please come up for the pledge of allegiance? They're so small, I didn't see them in the back.
Please start reading. My name is Colin. Thank you for inviting us to lead your meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. We are students from Stanford Avenue Elementary School. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance helps form a connection to our country, the United States of America. When we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we honor the flag and everything it represents.
My name is Parker. We are a country with a diverse population. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance instills a sense of patriotism for all people. We say the Pledge of Allegiance to start at school to begin official meetings or ceremonies, and we honor the flag at special events like ball games.
My name is Jackson. We would like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before you guys leave, I want you to come back up here. We have some certificates for you. Now, Miss Williams, are all these kids from your class? Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to point out. Which ones of you, I know Jackson, you play on the flag football team. Do either you two play on the flag football team? Well, I had the awesome opportunity to watch Jackson play flag football on Monday evening. How'd you guys do, Jackson? Talk into the mic, please. I want you to talk loudly how awesome you are.
We beat them.
How many touchdowns did you throw?
I don't know, but we got 56 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Stanford and Jackson, they are awesome. But I also wanted to recognize Miss Williams' class because a couple weeks ago I issued a challenge. And what was that challenge, young men? Go ahead, Jackson.
We had to get to 12 million AR words.
And where are you at today?
13 million.
And what do I owe you?
McDonald's.
So come on up, gentlemen. Colin.
Thank you so much. Great job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stanford, for representing, and friends and family that are with this family, you're welcome to leave at this time, or you're also welcome to stay.
Okay. We will now move on to comments and announcements by the board members. Sandra Barnes.
I have nothing at this time.
Beth Parmentier.
There we go. Good. Thank you. I had a chance to attend Wyandottes open house last night and really enjoyed that. I enjoyed going through and seeing all the families enjoying dinner and students showing their work. It was nice. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Daryl Thompson.
I have nothing. Bill Agrone? Myself, I have nothing to report. We will now have comments and announcements by administration. Dr. Spencer Holtzum.
Well, I'm going to keep mine short now. So I just want to let everybody know that we are in full swing of, and let the board know, we're in full swing of all of our spring sports. Have a lot of different activities going on after school. And I want to just highlight that we are now offering a lot of athletics and different programs at our elementaries, including flag football right now and different things. We are really working hard to bring after-school activities back into the district in full effect, and it's making a difference for our kids. And like to just thank all of our staff for helping provide those activities. Would just like to excuse Andrew James, my CBO, this morning or this evening. He is tending to family business, and appreciate him. And then also, I've had an opportunity to attend several open houses, or will be attending open houses this week and next. And classrooms look great, and our staffs are doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. Troy Cox.
Good evening, everyone. I did create a board report today that talked a little bit about we had our DOJ lawyers come do our walkthroughs on March 25th, and we did a formal debrief on April 9th. And nothing but positive comments about our middle schools and Stanford Elementary. Really good report from them. They're both very happy and high marks for what we have done over the past 5 years. So good news. Continued DOJ work that's going on, all of our check-in visits, DOJ requirements. We also had our Vital PLC district correlation day today. That's where all of our schools got together by grade level and reviewed our third inspect benchmark in preparation for our CAS testing, which is our state testing that starts in May. And then one thing that I did omit on here that I wanted to share that is recent. We've got notification from our local PBIS support provider, Jennifer Garcia, that we have 2 of our schools that have qualified for platinum level PBIS status by the state of California, which is a very high status. And just to give, it's the highest one that you can earn for California PBIS. And just to give a quick little idea, it's basically demonstrating the high degree of fidelity and effectiveness in their PBIS implementation across all 3 tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3. Specifically, they need to show evidence of sustaining or improving academic trends and provide data on office discipline referrals and out of school suspension. So the schools have demonstrated that they have their tier 1, 2, 3, their systems in place to help students, and that it's affecting the data in a positive way. So these are awesome things that are happening. I have no doubt that all of our schools in the district will reach that level of platinum, but congratulations to Ophir and Wyandotte.
Great job. Holly Gutierrez.
Good evening. I just wanted to piggyback on the positiveness of having the sports after school. I was able to go watch Ishii Middle and the Studios play against each other last night in the soccer fields down at Riverbend. The kids were having a blast. There was great competitive, but everyone stayed positive. You know, it was a really nice game to watch. And I'm pretty sure they play every Tuesday and Thursday at 6, 5 or 6, I think, Vince, right? Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I would just encourage you to go see our kiddos and encourage more sports for sure for these kids to have something to do.
Thank you. We will now have comments by the public. At this time, the board will extend invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on matters which are school related. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, please use your raise your hand button to be called on to speak. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per subject. Is there anybody online?
Good evening. Nice to see you guys again. Christy Anglin, and at this moment, I'm going to wear my Orville Elementary Teacher Association hat. It's that time of year where awards are coming out, and I just want to let you know we have our Who Awards, and we had 2 nominees for our association. The first one was Kathy McCarthy. She was nominated as a critical role in our unit that's often unnoticed as our treasurer. And she is a valued treasurer that I try to think often, especially when I go to other places and I hear about audits of unions. Like, thank you, Kathy, for keeping us on the straight and narrow. She's a diligent worker, and she's also been very supportive in helping our site reps that are newer learn their roles and attending meetings with that, which is valuable. And then my second nominee is here in the audience. It's Jennifer Cooper. Jenny is being nominated this year for her outstanding effort as our PAC chair and community outreach leader. Jenny attends all of our board meetings, bringing students from our local schools to lead the flag salute. She advocated in our district for the documentary Screenagers, which educates others on the effect of technology on students. Jenny has continued to educate herself in her role as PAC chair, attending workshops, and most recently, the North Political Academy. Our unit appreciates and applauds the work both of these ladies have done. And so now I'm going to take off my other hat. I know it's coming in action, but I'm like, then I don't have to get up for another one. I just want to say how excited I am to take on a new role next year as principal of Wyandotte Academy. I have big shoes to fill, but I know that I'm being set to excel and have success with my staff members as we move forward. And so I welcome the new challenge, and I can't wait to get started. So hopefully you say yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also like to recognize Brianne Stanley, who was nominated for the Ross Harmon Award this year, and she'll be recognized on the 28th at a dinner. So congratulations to her.
Any more? We will now move on to presentations. Proposed virtual academy for Oroville City Elementary School District.
So while this committee comes up, I just want to front load this. Board, this is an academy, a virtual academy that we've been talking about for the last several months. And these ladies have now had the opportunity to travel down to Southern California to San Jacinto Unified School District, which was my previous school district, so I have a lot of ties there. And they've been very gracious in sharing everything and anything and everything with our students, with our staff, to help them look at the opening of a virtual academy here in the district. This evening, this is not an action item, but we wanted to present to the board to give you a much better idea of what we can do, and at the end, get direction from the board of whether or not we're going to move forward with this idea.
Good evening. My name is Laura Fox. I'm the coordinator of curriculum and instruction, and I had the wonderful opportunity to spend time with some awesome educators in our district, traveling like Dr. Holtum described down to San Jacinto Unified. We left Sunday evening and we came back yesterday evening. We got to spend the whole day on Monday with on the San Jacinto Institute of Technology. They let our staff sit with their teachers for like a whole day and shadow them. And I had the opportunity to sit with their administrator and bounce questions off and what we would need. I would like the group to introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into the presentation.
I am Lori Maturino, and I am currently a 5th grade teacher at Ophir School, where I've been for 25 years.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Risley. I've been with the district for 33 years, and currently I'm a teacher coach.
Shauna Butler, and I am a 7th grade math at Ishii Hills Middle School.
And you've been with the district?
I've been with the district for 31 years.
I'm still Christy England. I teach TK, and I have been with the district for 24 years.
She will not be a teacher in the program, by the way.
So what we've done is we've put a presentation together for you, and the wonderful ladies behind me will chime in when they want to add or add on to what I'm saying or have any like aha moments. So we were asked to put a presentation together to kind of think about if we were going to do a virtual school within Orville, how could it look? What should it look like and how could it look like? So that's what we did. And when we were down there, we were just bouncing ideas off each other. The excitement was amazing. And we're like, well, if we're going to have a new school, we need a name. So we, what do we do? Oh yeah, Chat GPT to name, I think, or something. So and we just put in a description and it kicked out a couple names. And we really liked Orville City Academy of Technology, like IFLC. It could be an acronym of OCAT. And we thought of Wildcats, OCAT Wildcats, because we don't have a Wildcat in the district. And then we thought about school colors. So we're thinking, well, black and maroon, because other schools don't have black and maroon. So these are all, this is just all like proposals. This is what it could be. Obviously, we would want input. We would want input from people, but just some fun things that we were thinking about when we were thinking about giving this presentation. So we'll just get right into it. It should be pretty short. Did I move forward? I now move forward. It's not going. Okay, so we were thinking if we had a vision for the school that we could create, the vision of Orville City Academy of Technology is to cultivate a high quality online learning experience for students from Orville and the surrounding areas, not just Orville. We aim to create a dynamic, inclusive, and innovative learning environment that empowers students to thrive and succeed, as well as provide families with the option of a personalized and flexible learning experience. We want to create a different option for our families. We want them to have those choices and how to educate their children, and we want them to be with us. Let me see if this works. Here we go, finally. If we were going to create a virtual academy, our academic program, this is the curriculum that they were using down south, and some of it we already have, and some of it we don't. Edmonton would be probably our choice of a curriculum. It's online, it's research-backed learning with an acceleration program like intervention. It could be at grade level, and it has an enrichment program connected to it. They have been using that program for a while. Yeah, for a little bit. And there's a couple pieces that come along with it that we can buy with it. And it's called Study Island, which is practice, standards-based practice. There's an exact path. It's called Exact Path. It's a diagnostic with intervention. And I know these ladies have things to say about all this. Renaissance, which is the reading program. And then Second Step, which is your social emotional learning program that they would incorporate into their learning. And I think Jen wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Under the umbrella of Edmentum, you'll find Study Island and Exact Path. And I was really excited about Exact Path because I've been a primary teacher, and just knowing how important the foundations of reading are. Exact Path uses the science of reading and the latest research on developing reading skills. And it's a K-12 program, and it's personalized for each student. And so it reminded me a lot of our on-campus reading intervention classes that we have that pull students that need that above and beyond skills and reinforcement. And that's what Study Island does. So it's very differentiated for the needs of each of the students.
The grade levels and how we imagine them being broken out is second and third grade together with a teacher, fourth and fifth grade together with a teacher, and sixth, seventh, and eighth grade together with a teacher. We have discussed the possibility of, a lot of our kids and families are looking for different options, moving from those elementary schools to our middle schools in the district. So instead of them leaving the district or not wanting to attend our middle schools, we were hoping to capture them. So that could mean, though, that our sixth grade could be hopefully a lot of numbers of kids, like more than what we would expect. We're kind of going off, okay, if we can get 20 kids in each one of those grade levels, that'd be amazing, So who knows how many would be interested in this, but we do imagine that that jump from fifth to sixth could show in sixth grade that there will be families that would want the virtual option. The subjects taught and they're in Momentum or, taught to the kids would be mathematics, English language arts, social science, your history, your science. They have an elective program built into it. And then they would have independent study PE where when we talk to different virtual programs, they do a independent study PE log and turn it in to prove that they've done their mandated PE minutes. And then when you look at time requirements or how that program looks, for grades 2-3, they require 1 hour of daily live, like a meet or instruction. So if someone were the 2-3 teacher, they would have an hour in the morning with the kids online. But the kids are required to do 4 hours a day of assigned work. So the teachers are in charge of making sure that they get those assigned work. The 1 hour does count within their 4 hours of daily assigned work. Grades 4 through 8 is 1 hour weekly of live meet. The teacher that we sat with that does 7th and 8th grade down there in San Jacinto, she actually offers 3 different times, 3 different hours a week, and kids could show up in any of those 3 hours or all of those 3 hours. They can meet all 3 hours if they wanted to online with the teacher and their group of peers that are also online, but they only needed 1. But she offered 3, along with the 4 hours a day of assigned work. We would need to accommodate, or we would accommodate for IEP and 504 students. That would be on a consult only, 30 minutes per week. And so we would need to accommodate for that, and hopefully families would want that option. When we started thinking about virtual learning and a virtual academy within our district, we also thought, well, we were getting a lot of questions about, well, we already have independent study, we already have IFLC, and what's going to be the difference? And we were even having a hard time of like distinguishing that gray area between IFLC and virtual learning because we want to give options. We don't want to kill the IFLC program. We just wanted to give a different option for families. So I went and met with IFLC and got, okay, so tell me about your program. Tell me what you do. And then when we went down to the virtual learning, now we put together what each one looks like and the differences. I will say that the major difference is the curriculum. IFLC does the curriculum that is inside the classrooms in our district, hard packets, copied with personal meetings 1 hour a week. While the virtual learning is an online curriculum, all online curriculum that the kids could paste to themselves and with virtual meetings rather than in-person meetings. But some of the other differences is IFLC still does have like a little virtual check-in in the morning. The K-5 teacher is about 30 to 45 minutes, and the 6th through 8th grade teacher just checks in with them and says, are you here? What's going on? You guys okay? And it ends up about 15 minutes. Their grading is based on the percentage of work packet completed. So the kids take their packet, they work on it for the week, and when they come back for their meeting, they turn it in, and their grade is based upon how much of that packet that they completed. And it is a K-8 program. With virtual learning, like I said, it's computer-based software curriculum. The check-ins are longer. They'll need to check in 2nd, 3rd grade for an hour, 4th through 8th grade once a week for an hour. The grading is based on engagement during those virtual check-ins. They also grade on the completion of required work and just their presentation, the kids presenting themselves during the meetings and how they're doing that is a little piece of that as well. Virtual learning is not recommended for kindergarten and 1st grades. And in this model, and then it's a 2nd through 8th grade program. We wanted to tell you a little about our visit before we kind of wrapped it up and took some questions and little aha moments. So there's some quotes from our staff that went down, and I think they all kind of wanted to say some aha moments and what they really enjoyed.
So mine was virtual learning offers numerous benefits and choices for both students and families. We shadowed the teachers. There were students on vacation. There were students that couldn't attend school due to an illness or anxiety. And there were students that just preferred virtual learning to an in-person learning. The choices were numerous, the benefits were numerous. And I think that was one of the most important things that I took away.
Gloria, before you step away, not too long ago, we were talking about this very subject. And during that current week, we had lost a handful of OFER students to various virtual academies. Can you speak to that real quickly?
Yes, I'm not certain which academy they went to, but we lost, I think we lost 4 in 1 week to virtual academies, and the parents just stated that they wanted that, the flexibility and a different type of learning for their children. And then I know we did the same at Ishii in 1 week, I think.
They specify.
Well, with online, they can work Monday through Friday, or they can work Saturday, Sunday. When we're done at 3:30, whatever, they can work till 10 o'clock at night if they so choose. So they have a certain number of hours that they have to meet. If they haven't met those hours, they have the chance or the choice to spend more time on a certain day. Say they're going away on a 3-day weekend with their family, so they can spend more time on the back end, working and completing those modules and completing those. And then they can also take their teacher time, their 1-hour meet on the road and the motel room, things like that. My quote, students were visibly engaged in the class during their Google Meet. And one thing that I really enjoyed is how there was definitely a sense of community within that 1-hour Google Meet. And as I was talking with the teacher, and I shadowed a teacher that was responsible for the primary, so it started at 2nd grade. She told me that she starts the school year just like we do in a classroom, getting to know you. Who are you? Who am I, the teacher? And they had just returned from spring break, and the teacher had a brand new grandson. So she was showing the kids the grandson, and they were talking about spring break, but there was definitely a relationship between the students and the teacher. And I just felt like that connection, she could reach out to them at different times of the day, check on them if she noticed something during the Google Meet. So it was really nice to see that bond between the teacher and the students.
Sean Butler. So students shared their appreciation for the flexibility and the virtual learning, and they were proud of their progress. So I had the opportunity to do the 7th and 8th grade teacher for the day, and she had planned for or made arrangements for some of her students to have some little blocks of time to actually talk to us. So they came online, and there was some pretty proud moments because one of the young ladies would never turn the camera on, things like that. And, she had found this to be a great opportunity for her. They were there for different reasons, from not able to attend school to one was being bullied at school and chose this as a different platform for a while. And the other one had some medical reasons for him. So they all had very different reasons, but they all had a really good presentation. They were all well-spoken. They had practiced, speaking to others, and then they shared what they wanted. They all had goals, and all of them had goals to do great things, study in Korea, go back to in-person high school, so it was just a opportunity, at least for them in middle school. And so that was really nice to see that, they weren't just sitting on a couch, whatever, just like slugs in the education world. They were engaged and powerful. And then they were proud of their progress. They shared a few of their Edmentum goals and that they do. So that part of it was inspiring to know that even though they are home and working with families, they still are looking to their future and the things that other education opportunities offer.
So my quote is, teachers were very supportive of their students and recognized their needs. And my part of the journey was very different in that I was looking as a union leader of what things do these teachers need, or what do they have in place already for their contract. And then kind of like on the administrative side, like, well, how do people how do students qualify for this program? There's different aspects there, but the fun part is Laura and I are sitting, looking over documents together, and you could hear the engagement on both sides. The 2 to 6th grade teacher, she's like, well, honey, if you're having a hard time, you need me to just listen, say, hey, stop, I need you to hear what I'm saying. And so there was a lot of empathy there. And same thing on the 7th and 8th grade side, where, they're talking about, well, it's okay to feel this way. And so I loved, it was, you could tell they were all bonded together, even from, it's not like when we had our COVID teaching, it was a deeper level of relationships. And I really enjoy. It was worth every minute of that trip that we went down for the second time to see that in action, because it brought a different level of excitement, I think, to all of us. And I would be the first one. COVID was hard, and this is totally different than that. This is a program that will totally support and offer opportunities for everyone to feel success. And I think that's what we want for our students, is to be successful at whatever platform they want to choose for their education.
And as we wrap up our presentation, my aha moment was similar to Christy, of sitting in this room with these virtual teachers with kids, and you can hear the kids and you can hear the teachers. But my aha moment was seeing the excitement of the staff from Orville. I mean, it was just amazing and fun, and just the energy that was coming, and they were soaking it all in, and just, you can see how excited that they are for our Orville families and our Orville kids in our surrounding areas. Remember, parents and families are choosing not to attend an in-person school, whether it be for political reasons, whether it be for social, emotional reasons, or maybe safety reasons, with everything in our society that's going on. And for us to present and be able to offer this program, I think it'd be great for Orville. And I think we're all excited for that, the challenge, if we choose to move forward with it, and we would love to do that. So I think that's it. Do you have any questions, Dr. Oldham?
No, I'm just going to now share with the board. If you have any questions right now, this is the time to kind of ask them. Wanted to kind of reiterate how this came about. This was something that we kind of thought about after COVID, because we had a number of parents that really wanted to stay with the full virtual. Definitely part of it had to do with the anxiety that some of our students face in school. Some of it had to do with the anxiety parents feel about the safety in school. And then also the idea that some kids just like to work at their own pace. And then, of course, there's the political piece as well. As more and more things are demanded within the public school, there are certain bodies of our population that just have asked to opt out. And this allows them to be very much part of our district, but they can very much opt out of some of those other issues. Secondly, I had a lot of conversation with one of our newer board members, Daryl, who has a lot of experience working with families that are part of these virtual academies. But in addition to that, we are looking to support the greater Oroville area, not just our district, but also our surrounding counties, because there's very much a need for this. And we're always looking for ways to improve our ADA and grow our district as far as the flexibility and options that we offer our families, not only here, but elsewhere. So now's the time to ask any questions if you have any.
I actually have two questions. What are the class sizes?
I'll try. So that's a good question. It kind of depends on what grade levels of students come in. We're looking at somewhere, I'll say, in the ballpark of 25-ish,
Really?
give or take that. I know, at least in the middle school, they do a Google, they meet once a week, but if kids can't make that meeting, then those become individual hours across the week. So if you think about having an opportunity from whatever 9 to 10 to meet with your kids, if 8 of them meet with you, but the others have to be more individualized, you have to meet that time need of them throughout your week. So they share that that's a manageable amount. We don't have Chrissy's the next one for that.
So it's more like a caseload and everybody just drops in at their appointed time if they can?
So when we went the first time we went to the high school, they had an appointment time that they showed up for. For the elementary age, they have their time set that they come in, so they definitely know what time to show up. When we talked about class size, when I was talking with their administrator, they follow their contract language for what their class size is for the teachers in well, it's general ed, regular ed. And so that matches, so if they're 1 to 28, so is the virtual program or their daily life folks. So that was another thing I went through to like, well, so how does this work? And so that's something that we're, you know, kind of in the process of talking about what would that look for us. So the high school, they had like 40 students, but is that feasible at an elementary level and to give them the quality support that they need? You know, just like in our classroom, smaller, we don't want dinky, but smaller is always better for the quality of time and relationships that you're developing with those students.
And yeah, well, so many more questions. So at any given time, you know, when you've got kiddos, you're doing screen time with more than one or just one at a time?
You guys watch that part.
Yeah, you did. With the second and third grades, and I believe it's a state law that they must be on with their teacher for an hour a day. So the teacher I shadowed had them all on during that 9 to 10 block in the morning. And those that weren't showing up during that, she was communicating with parents saying, hey, we're back on, you know, are you having problems? But where are you? And checking in. So with
Okay.
primary, it's a whole group.
Now that leads me to my second question. 30 minutes a week for SEL, is that even adequate?
Well, I believe, and that's the curriculum, but
Special education.
oh,
It just said 30 minutes for SEL.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, social emotional.
Yeah, 30 minutes if students were on IEPs and 504s. So the program down there, they say you have a 30-minute consult if your student's on an IEP or 504. And if that doesn't fit, then this program is not a fit for you. So that's,
Okay.
so then they would have to choose a different program within
person.
the district. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
SEL is another
Or Indy.
program that's
Yeah.
social emotional learning.
Right.
And so they have a module that they would meet with us, and then they have other stuff at home as well.
Mhm. And just to add on to second and third grade is required to do the hour of what they call daily live. Every day they do an hour, and that is group time. If they need to meet with students individually as well, they do. And then the 4th through 8th grade, they meet an hour once a week, but they provide that group time in the morning 3 times a week that they could show up 3 times. But yes, they have their individual 1-hour meetings with those teachers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, every person. And when they talked about having 40 students at the high school and the quality of time though, they're not required to do any of that. So they went from like 20 students at an hour every week they were meeting with them, but then they went to 40 students and they cut their time down to a half an hour to fit into the week. So, but they were cutting down the quality of social time these kids were having online. So you just got to, weigh that out with the programs.
Quantity versus quality.
Any other questions?
I have one. Somebody else might go there. I just wondered, so there is a commitment then from the family that I know with IFLC, there's a commitment, and if it doesn't get met, then they are asked to go back into the regular classroom. Is it kind of a contract type thing with the family?
Yes. So I spent the time with the administrator. Christy and I spent the time with Steve down there. And they have an intake meeting with a contract and what their programs look like. If the family feels like the program's fit for them, then they sign their contract. Of course, there's a handbook for the school. There's everything Chromebook, Chromebook comes with it with a contract for that. And we would have a packet ready. They have a process to where if a student is missing their meetings, that the communication goes to the principal. And it's just like an in-person school where if a student misses so many days of school, they're sent a first attendance letter, and then he sends a second with like a re-engagement plan, and he'll call the family in and say, hey, how can we help you? Like, what's going on? And then by the time they get to the third letter, yeah, they're going to have to find a different program.
And so is there a length of commitment to the program? Do they usually stay in for a semester, quarters, year?
Well, I think
can they
this,
join anytime? How's that come?
yeah, I think the students that were in the program have been there a while. I got that feeling that they, yeah, and have been there through like second grade all the way up. yeah, you would want them to stick and not be this flowing because we want the consistency with the kids and the families.
So is there an expectation like you're going to commit to at least a quarter or
Yeah,
can they join at any
yeah, we
time,
could
or
do,
how
yeah,
does
we
that
could do what we want if we wanted to talk to them about their commitment time. And it's just like any other school, they could come to us at any time and say, we want to join.
And then you mentioned the curriculum is kind of at your own pace, but then there must be a minimum.
Yeah, so they'll assign like a week's worth of work and then they do that week's worth at their own pace online. Did I answer this right?
So now is the curriculum the same as online software as what we have in the schools right now? Or is it,
No.
what kind of curriculum do you have with this virtual?
It's called Edmentum, and that's what some of our neighboring districts use during COVID. They use it down there, and the curriculum covers all the grade levels, and that has that intervention piece, and their modules. So it has the California state standards per grade level, and the teacher goes in and assigns these modules, and the students work on them and have to have so many hours a week.
Sorry, are you familiar with these modules or is this, or do you guys have to go through training to do the online?
We would do training.
Okay.
It's important to note that these modules are specifically built for these type of programs so that there's actually a live teacher, and they're not live, but a recorded teacher that's teaching an actual lesson, and then the kids do the assigned work that's associated with that lesson, and it kind of is at your own pace and things like that.
To the learning labs.
And we did use it in Chico during COVID. That was used by the Chico Unified teachers. I used it myself in a special education classroom and as a general ed math co-taught class. And there are a lot of accommodations in there. There are ways that, if there's modules that are in science, there are some that have recorded teachers in there. And then there's parts where they can go back and have it read to them. So there are different aspects to use, and we weren't truly given much training at all to use it. Obviously, we were all just kind of thrown into COVID, but we were able to use it. We were able to get through it. There was a lot of it that if it was just too hard for your kiddos, then you were able to go in as a teacher and take out pieces that you were like, this really doesn't hit the standard or the lesson or the piece that I want to really hit hard, maybe for those state testings. And then, pull and pick and choose what you would like to use.
Our teachers really had a good idea when they sat and shadowed all day about how friendly it was for students to use. But Steve, the principal, was like, it's really super friendly for our families and our parents to use this, the curriculum. There's also an elective piece in it with a multiple choices of electives if kids wanted to take electives in it. And they also do down there, which this, a program like ours could morph into learning labs. Come in on a Friday afternoon if you want. She had crocheting, like so kids came in and crocheted with her. She did a robotics learning lab. We've talked about like a gardening learning lab, and just the options are endless of, we could bring a group of kids in for an hour and they can, have some hands-on activities, and we can call it learning labs. That'd be part of their 4 hours. So, voluntary to come in. Some of our families don't want any social interaction, and that's okay. So this would be like a voluntary hour of instruction that they could have. And just so our brains together as a group was just like reeling, and it was just super fun to kick ideas off and think about the possibilities of what could happen.
Thank you.
I have one thought. Is the cost comparable to curriculum that we provide in our schools already?
So I'll know more tomorrow.
Curious.
We have started to inquire about that, and we do have a meeting tomorrow to just start exploring cost to see about that. But when you talk about cost, there will be some startup costs, and Dr. Holtum and Troy and Mr. Assistant Superintendent Cox and I have talked about the startup costs. I mean, just every teacher has 3 screens and stand-up desks because you're sitting all day at these desks. And, if we use the area we're thinking of, we need to clean it up. And so there will be some initial costs that need to happen, the curriculum and the training that goes with it. And, but it is very exciting to think about.
So as far as costs go, we do have different pockets of money that are restricted. that we can absolutely use towards this project. And we believe that we do have the facilities already existing in our district, so we're not looking at those huge costs. We feel like cleanup costs are just, you know, cleaning out some unused classrooms that we might have available to us right now. Yes, there are some absolute technology costs, but we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking much less than that. And we feel like this is something very affordable. And again, we do have different pots of restricted money that we can use to fund this program and get this off the ground.
What are their education scores? Sorry. What are their education, the CASP scores like?
No, they did have some printed papers of their dashboards, so they were up into the blues and greens, which is good. But you know, they just still had some reds. But it was sitting there for their meeting, and I didn't want to like be too invasive, so we can look it up online. We can look it up on the dashboard, but I don't remember the exact.
I had a question about the PE, if you could clarify a little bit more about how the PE works.
Yeah. So they do not fund any PE programs. It's on their families to find what their students would like to fulfill for an hour a day, with an hour a day. And the requirement for PE is 200 minutes in elementary school every 10 days, and that's a state requirement, and 400 minutes every 10 days for junior high. If families, and because I specifically asked about this, I have a PE background, like, okay, what do you see them doing? So they join gyms, they log down walks, and some families and chores. So some families will say like, well, we don't want to pay money to do that. Well, there's a lot of free things you could do. You could go out and pull weeds in the yard and you can wash the dishes. And so Mimi, who was in the front office, was like, yeah, I talk to families and tell them, well, there are other options that don't cost money. Because one of my questions to the administrator was, you know, do you pay for these students to have a PE option? And they absolutely do not.
Outside of like paying for extracurricular PE, that's really not my concern. I mean, and I'll go on record saying one of the things that frustrates me most in our society is childhood obesity.
Yeah.
It saddens me as well. I don't think that our school system, and this is across the country, is doing a good job keeping our kids fit and healthy. And one thing I would just like to say that we could maybe think about is having some kind of structured or an additional PE thing. I think some parents can handle a proper physical education, but I'd like to see something a little more structured than pulling weeds, for instance. I think that's great, but PE is it's a vast subject that I think is under taught, and I'd like to see something with a little more structure in regards to physical education.
So I taught PE for 14 years and was a coach. And I agree that it's an important aspect of everybody's life. But at that particular school, those were the things they were trying to get to fulfill the minutes. So that's definitely a discussion that we're still could have, you know, where there's a lot of discussions that need to happen.
And some virtual schools, excuse me, I didn't mean to
It's all right.
interrupt. Some virtual schools do have a little more structured programs, and some of them have cost assistant programs, and that's something that we can look at. Right now, we're looking at what was prescribed tonight, and then certainly as we move forward, we can look at other alternatives to strengthen that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of decisions that would need to be made and discussed.
One thing that I'm interested to piggyback on yours, extra equipment rentals or checkouts, possibly even band equipment checkouts or rentals.
So they were just doing Chromebooks. If even that, I think some of the kids were using their own.
I mean, it's an open, we're sharing what
yeah.
we saw. So, I mean, those are conversation pieces that
Yeah.
we would.
Yeah, there were some activities that the teachers had assigned or wanted to do a learning lab on. So for instance, like the STEM learning lab, the kids that didn't want to come in for the hour, they left the kit in the front office to be picked up. And so they were also online, and they had kids in the classroom, like, you know, 3 kids in the classroom doing the learning lab that wanted to volunteer and come for the hour, but they were also online watching. So the kids that were at home and wanted to do STEM could do the STEM with them. So just getting creative and making sure that everybody's involved. Yeah. So everything would work through the office of picking things up and returning them
Our
back if
kids.
there were anything like that.
So
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, so, members of the board, this is not an action item tonight. And the only reason I didn't make an action item because I wanted you guys to have a really good opportunity to hear about the program. And now, I'm gonna ask our board, if you'd like us to continue to, look at cost and different things like that, and next month bring back a formal action item to move forward 100% with this program.
I say we bring it back for
Okay.
next
Okay.
month.
Well, thank you,
action item.
members of the board, and what we'll do is next month we'll bring back our facilities plan, our personnel plan, and we'll start that process, and then bring an action item with more information. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your presentation. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to public hearing session. Independent Auditor's Report of OCESD's Child Development Fund financials as of June 30th, 2024.
Okay. Um, The independent review of the district's California State Preschool Program Child Development Fund financial reports for the 23-24 financial year ending June 13th, 2024 will be presented. The review was conducted by Cavan and Associates of Morgan Hill, California. This evening, we have our preschool director, Jesse. Raise your hand, Jesse. And this was a action item for Andrew that I'm covering for him this evening. This was a clear audit and with no issues to discuss at this time. And later on in the board meeting, we will accept this audit and approve it.
Does the board have any questions? We will now move on to the action session. Public comments on action items. The board will extend invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on items that are listed on the agenda. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use your raise your hand button to be called on to speak. The Brown Act does not allow the governing board to discuss or take action on any item that is not on the posted agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person, 20 minutes per subject. Is there anybody online? Anybody that would like to comment? Okay, we'll now move on to the consent agenda. We have pulled a couple of items.
So those items to be pulled will actually later in the board meeting.
Okay. For the action items, can I please get a motion?
So moved, but I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
My question has to do with class sizes for special ed. Can you comment on that?
Sure.
Are they getting bigger? Are they getting smaller? Is this adequate?
So
I mean, I
this
know
is-
everybody agreed, but
So this is a renewal of a past MOU that we've had for the past several years. We've made no real changes to this. And what this does is it allows us to have smaller class sizes for our special education students. And a better ratio of students to teachers. And it's a weighted formula based on the different needs of the students. So the more needs of the students, the smaller the class size.
I had a question in regards to the personnel recommendations, and I'm noticing where it says substitute employees to be used as needed. They all have COVID support staff for $20.70 an hour. What's COVID support staff?
We've actually kind of moved away from COVID support. We have a number of different ways to kind of code people and their pay, depending on what they qualify for. COVID support staff is something more specific. But like I said, post-COVID, we've kind of got away from that and we're putting, but that's kind of a catch-all that we've used in the past. So, for example, when we need students or people to work at a school site as extra support, um, let's say that we have a kid that continues to lope, meaning, running around or running off campus. Um, that could be someone who is campus supervisor or someone who we just give that campus extra support that day to help regulate that. And that's just COVID support, but it's less about COVID and more about just general support. We just, yeah.
Do you have any other questions on the consent agenda? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent items? Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any noes? Any abstain? Passed with 5 yes votes. On new business, we are pulling A.
Yes, we are pulling the special service agreement. Troy and I are continuing to work with this with the Butte County Office of Education, but more specifically, threshold rising. There was some concerns about the cost, and we're looking at ways to kind of pare that down, and we'll bring something back next month as an amendment.
Okay, we'll move on to approve master services agreement with Parallel.
So parallel, Holly, go ahead and take this one.
So Parallel is an online agency that's going to be providing speech services to our middle schools as we are down speech providers. We've been using a contracted in-person agency, but they are unable to support, they don't have enough staff to support our 2 middle schools. So Parallel will be supporting them. And also Parallel will be supporting our special ed service minutes that we provide to Ipacani online.
And that's in person online?
It is online.
Right, but I mean, that's face to face, actual real time.
Yes, yes.
Does the board have any questions?
When they do the face-to-face online, does there have to be another adult or somebody
Yes,
in the
so
room?
at Ipacani, they have classrooms and then they have little offices to the side. So that's where those services are taking place at Ipacani. At the studios, we have a speech room and we have a staff member who's helping with that. And also in our Mod Severe classroom, there's an office within that classroom that can be supported. And then at Ishii, because they have open pods, they are just going to be serviced in the different pods where the special education teachers are there.
Does the board have any more questions? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Pass with 5 yes votes. We'll move on to approve revisions to inclusive state preschool CSPP parent handbook.
Jesse, did you want to come and speak to this? Or would you like me to cover this?
I was just here for questions, but. I
Sure.
don't mind.
So come on up. We always want to hear from you, and you are the expert in our preschool area.
You. I'm Jessie Wood, and honestly, this revisions were made at the beginning of the year, and I didn't realize that it needed to come again to the board, so that's why it's here. I'll be back in June if there are any other revisions. They only occur when the state has a management bulletin, and the biggest one really is about the suspension and expulsion, so that we're aligned with that state mandate that we do everything possible. It's not that you can't suspend and expel because our program can't meet every single child's needs all the time. Sometimes their needs are for a smaller program or for a more specialized, something like that. So we have those changes. They start on page 13 and they continue on 24 and 25. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Didn't hear it in my voice. And just some basic changes that were outlined. Is there any questions on those?
I did have a question. I noticed
Yeah.
that there was a fee schedule that wasn't included. We're charging for that for.
The fee
opportunities?
schedule is, yeah, that's a great question. The fee schedule is assessed during their application, and that will be individualized on their notice of action. I have never had in my 30 years of teaching ever anyone that had a fee schedule. The state is working really hard to make that very friendly to all families.
And Jesse, while we have you up here, can you
Yeah.
kind of let the board know about the size and the program and where we're at right now?
Oh, absolutely. So we have our full day classroom that has been full since we opened. Actually, yesterday was our 1 year anniversary of opening. I told Holly, my husband reminded me, congratulations. And in that year, we have opened not only our full day classroom that now has a wait list ongoing. That is a huge need. So once we get to that point, Holly and I are already talking about when we can expand, we would love to do that to meet the community's needs. And our part day program, which follows the school calendar, the Oroville City Elementary, has a morning and an afternoon. Our morning is at our capacity for Gen Ed, which is 10. And we also have about 8 to 9, depending on how they're doing that day, special education students that are coming in and mainstreaming into our classroom in the morning. And in our afternoon classroom, we just opened that one up. That's a harder sell for preschool age. 3 and 4-year-olds typically nap between 12 and 3. And I know that that's the same with SDO. They fill up the morning and then everybody kind of overflows into the afternoon program. And we are actually started co-teaching that collaboration within that classroom because that's what we're hoping the model will be for next year when we start, that we'll have at least our 10 enrollment for Gen Ed, that many in SPED, and then have a special education teacher and a state preschool teacher collaborating all day in that classroom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding this action item?
How many kids do we have enrolled right now?
We have 30 families.
Wow, cool.
Okay, anybody more questions? Can I get a motion to approve the revisions?
I make a motion that we approve the revisions.
Can I get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstain? Passes 5 yes votes. Review quarterly report of district compliance with education code, section 35186, uniform complaint procedures.
We have no complaints, and this is not an action item, just a report.
Thank you. We'll now move on to business and finance. Accept the auditor's 2023 to 24 financial report for OCSD's Child Development Fund.
It is recommended that the independent audit of the district's California State Preschool Program Child Development Fund for the 23-24 fiscal year ending June 30th be accepted as shared.
Any questions? Can I get a motion? Can I get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstain? Passes 5 yes votes. We're going to go ahead and pull the approved quote for policy services.
Yeah, we'll bring this back next month. Andrew James has asked that we bring this back because he would like to share some details about this service and have a conversation in open session with the board.
Okay, we're going to move on to personnel. Consider request for unpaid leave of absence.
It is recommended that a request for an unpaid leave of absence be considered for certificated employee number 2134 due to child care.
The board have any questions? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstain? Pass with 5 yes votes. And we're going to adjourn the meeting at 6:05. Thank you.
Good job,